Yo, it's me, your favorite uncle, TDE.
Damn. Yeah.
Now I know I have been away for a little bit or more than how long I should be away for, and the challenge that I have posted right here has been postponed for a week or two. That's because things happened, life happens, you know what I mean. But here I am back with a vengeance, and we're going to review your actual Paper Magic MTG setup. As we know, here in our region, we still can't do face-to-face MTG play. However, fret not, the guys at Top Deck actually have a year-round league which will cumulate in a yearly invitational, which you would yield cash prize. That's right. However, with that being said, we are going to check out your budget gaming setup. And this is to do with Paper Magic. Alright, without further ado, I ask you guys to send me a photo and a description of your budget setup into Discord, and I'm choosing the ones that I would be featured. Now note, you guys sent me a couple of like awesome streaming setup and gaming setup and Paper Magic setup, which I don't think would yield any more budget upgrades. I would probably, if we have enough time, call you or showcase your setup at the end of the stream, but stay tuned. However, this is your budget setup. First setup sent to us by our dear favorite judge, Ben. This is a setup wars by Ben, and he's basically trying to go for ergonomic and trying to be eco-friendly look. So this is, I would assume that he's going for a minimalistic look with an earthy tone and feel. So let's look at his setup. Is composed of a MacBook Air 2016, decent for Discord or face cam and voice audio, an old cell phone for the table cam, a USB table lamp, and a phone clip to attach the lip on the table where there is a depression on a multiple socket USB extension cord playmat. Ben is thoroughly into Paper Magic. His setup right now is decent and modest, and as he said, is going for the earth tone feel. That's why we have a lot of wood feel or gradient right here. You can see clearly the MTG packages right here and ready to go decks on the top. I believe 5 of them here, and this is a Magus playmat. Shout out to Magus. And here is his USB connection or cell phone connection that's connected to his MacBook. If we zoom in a bit further, this is usually the budget setup rig. Now, if you know, I did do a tutorial by iRuin right here on how to connect your cell phone to your PC for free. And mostly, the reason why people do this is because the cell phone camera is usually better than the cheaper USB that you can build out there. That is because most of the technological advances in cell phones are through the cameras. So might as well use it. I do agree with this setup, and then to reduce some glare, what people usually do is they turn off the light, the usual ambient light on their room, because it has direct glare and it's usually poised on top of their play mats. So that's why it has super extreme glare. But by this, Ben is using this lamp right here. Decent enough, definitely, and this is how he's showcasing it. This is the lamp that he has right now, and that's what he's using, and he's using this as a life counter, to be honest. All right, and another view from the top view. So as you can see, he was saying that top view with changing cable looped into phone clip, so it doesn't come into view. Perfect. Amenities, aircon in a bottle, and the white flower eucalyptus. Yep, certified uncle right here. This is the trifecta of getting matured or tenured in doing MTG gameplay. So if there's one thing that I would be upgrading on your setup, and that is to do with the actual light. Now, 80% or 70% of how the video quality comes out is actually boils down to light. So if you could see in this side, you could see that it's a bit darker because I think I set the aperture here a bit lower, and on this side it's a bit higher. That's why there's a different contrast. But if you could see, this is like focused on this side while my light is on here, so that's why there's a dark area right here. While if I face here, since the camera angle is facing me directly, while my light here is on this side, that's why I have a better, like, this has a better like light on my face. In the same scenario or like the same theory, that's also what I would be recommending on your setup. The base hues, iWalk desktop monitor light screen right here, which is what I'm using right now. And this is a USB steepless dimming screen hanging table lamp light. And the reason why this is what I'm recommending, and as part of the competition, I'm actually giving it to you for free. I'm sending this to you because I believe this would definitely improve your setup. The reason why I'm giving this recommendation is because the light inside the Bayus is actually slanted in a way wherein it's not directly looking at the table, so there's no glare. I believe it's slanted 45 degrees, and you can actually dim the light or brighten up the light. Now, this goes hand in hand with what you want with your setup, being that it's not going to be very cumbersome, because some of the setups of this type of budget rig goes for the ring light. I know it's very, number one, accessible, number two, it's very cost efficient, but with what you're trying to achieve here, this would be a better fit, definitely. And for me, that's also my go-to. Aesthetic wise, it looks good, it's dimmable, it's also, the temperature of the light also can differ, and at the same time, it's work friendly. So I tried this one, and I'm going to show you right now what it looks like when I'm playing MTG.
On the day.
Pass the turn.
Ano ba tong blue player natin?
Alright, next entry will be coming in from Chrissy. Chrissy has also been an avid league member, and this is his setup. So it looks like from Ben's setup a while ago, he's definitely looking for a more mobile. I think this is a kitchen, maybe, on where he's trying to do his gameplay. So from what I could see, this is an Acer laptop right here hooked up to a C920. C920 is actually the streamer standard when you're trying to do streaming. It has a 1080p resolution. At the same time, the field of vision is 70%. One of the advantages about this specific webcam is that it's built-in software accommodation where you can actually tweak the contrast, the brightness, and at the same time, it has an autofocus feature. Very, very useful when you're trying to do paper magic. However, if you put in it on autofocus, it has this wobble feel wherein it comes zoom in and out. It doesn't really know whether or not your hand is just moving around. Sometimes it focuses on your hand, sometimes it doesn't. So that's one of the downside. The other thing that I noticed here is that, well, shout out to the playmat right here. I think this is Morgan. All right, very simplistic, very straightforward. He doesn't have a light or a ring light right here, and I think he's using a tripod to prop up that specific webcam right here. Now, mostly this is actually the issue when you're trying to have this mobile setup, because you need to have enough real estate to get the tripod behind your desk, and at the same time you want to get that perfect angle where your USB webcam is looking down on your specific gameplay. So that type of angle is very hard to achieve. However, there are budgetary means where you can actually circumvent that one. Now, the non-budgetary means is brought to you by Elgato right here. This costs around about like $100 per piece. Now, if you're doing it, you want to have the stand or the desk clamp plus the actual mount or like extension arm. It would cost you about $200. But fret not, because we do have another option right here. It's the Undoer, and this is actually a desk clamp right here where it clamps to your desk. This is the C clamp on the desk. It clamps directly to your desk, and it ends up with this specific apparatus right here where you can put it down, lock it up so that it doesn't move, so it comes up at an angle. And then your good old selfie stick right here, putting in a 90-degree angle. This one is also extendable, and this one is also extendable. This one in itself, it costs about only $16, give or take $16 to $20. So if you're looking for a budget option, this is definitely one of the options that you can take. That's actually what I'm using right now to prop up my DSLR. Granted that it is a Sony a5100. It's a bit on the way upside, but you know, I got it for secondhand, so still on a budget. I'm really proud about the discovery of this because we save a lot of dollars using this clamp. So if I were to recommend something with Chrissy, I would recommend going for something like this. It is number one, easy to pack and you can put it anywhere. Recall this table should be able to accommodate this specific item. Plus you can attach a good old selfie stick right there. Just make sure that there is mostly this is already the standard right now when you're having a selfie stick. So in that way, you can actually put your camera right here and then extend it out so that it views your gameplay. You can even put it on in front of you or on the side so that it has this versatility depending on which side is free for you to have this gameplay. All right, I think that's mostly it for this one, Crazy. I did play with Crazy a couple of times. I don't see any glaring issues on his end, and I think this is because his table is movable. He moved it to a point wherein the light or the ceiling light is actually a bit on an angle on himself, so that's why he doesn't really need it. So yeah, I think that's it. I guess this is the one for you, Chrissy. Send it over to you. All right, and finally, let's look at Jim's entry right here. No fun. Jimmy is actually also a League player as well, and this is what he has. It's a budget work from home PC setup with Shopee, bought peripherals, brought borrowed webcam and mic. I thank you, Carlo G, for the Tez Funko. So he just borrowed a webcam and a mic. So let's look at his setup right now. It's a very decent setup, to be honest. I think the monitor right here is, I believe this looks like a Samsung monitor if I'm not mistaken, and he's rocking this, if I'm not mistaken, this should be around 16GB RAM stick right here. This looks to be like a AMD Stealth fan if I'm not mistaken as well. Jim actually has a ring light as well. As I mentioned before, this is actually a weapon of choice for those of us who are playing budget streaming in terms of like showing what is on the desk, because the ring light has the functionality to dim their lights out. So I think what Jim is trying to do here is trying to bounce it off the reflective surface of the wall right here, which is white. That's quite smart to do. At the same time, you don't need to have a diffuser on that end. So for those of you who are not aware, you can actually buy a specific diffuser right here on Shopee to make sure that your lights are being diffused. If not, you can actually just cover the light with some sort of cloth, like white cloth at the very least, to make sure that the light is dispersed evenly all throughout. That being said, I think this is a decent setup here. Jim, what I would probably be just upgrading the setup for is probably just changing the webcam to a better setup. I think the microphone right here is good enough. I think this is a USB microphone and you already have your lights figured out and whatnot. So that's how I would do it. All right, going up to the next one, which is the final one. And we have one entry here from Edwin, which is part of the Tito crew. And from the looks of which, Edwin is now using a Apple laptop with flash stand and umbrella and to hold the webcam. Now this is one of the most unique entries that I can see in this specific segment right here. The umbrella light stand right here screams that there is some sort of photography background from Edwin's standpoint. However, from the looks of it, he doesn't even play on the table. I think that's the reason why you have a little bit of a lumpiness around here. And he's using actually an Apple laptop. I think this is probably the newer version of the laptop, so I don't think that's going to be the issue. I'm not sure about the quality of the webcam. I would probably see maybe this is a Redman. I don't think this is the same thickness as the Logitech C920. Quite familiar with how the Logitech C920 goes in terms of like the side. It's a bit on the rougher edge in that case. So the way I would probably improve this, since you already have this umbrella, is to have a light bounce right off to the right hand side right here. Make sure that you have enough lighting that you can actually disperse into your play area, which would probably not going to be an issue in terms of like the reflection, because you're bouncing it off out of an angle and it's not a direct light. I think I would probably dim the light on this specific room and maybe put in on a more flat surface, because if you're going to bounce your light either on the top or the side, you will see lumps on your mats. So I think that's the reason why when I see Edwin play on stream, I can see that there's a couple of lumps here and there. So that's the reason why I think the way I would improve it, definitely I'm just going to put in a light on the side, maybe a ring light there that's easily attachable to the stand that you already have. But because you're not using a table, I can't really improve anything much on the table. I would probably put in a C-clamp right there to attach the ring light, a C-clamp as well to attach my USB better because this one is hanging precariously, so I'm not really sure if that's the way to go right there. I think there is even better options the way I see it. Like I mentioned before, like a selfie stick on the side. Get yourself a, what you call this, ball, forgot what this was called, this ring thingy, which could be detached as well. Attach it that way, boom, and that should be a stable enough connection to what we're trying to do here. Maybe position your laptop way to the right hand corner on towards the wall so that your wiring connection don't go spaghetti wire, and you know, when you're top down looking down, the wires would be on the way and you would see on the webcam there's a wire like maybe like hanging right there. Like, yeah, I think that's the way I would actually do that. So for those of you who are featured here on the segment, I will be reaching out to you independently to ship to you guys my suggested upgrades to your setup. You know where to reach me, TDErickson. Plus, can just chat me on my social medias right here or on the description down below. Again, just to wrap it up nice and neatly, you don't need much to actually play with your friends with Paper Magic and join tournaments. Even with this specific situation right now, you can remotely play with them using Spell Table Discord right here. At the same time, just enough setup for you to make sure that you have, number one, enough light to the room that is on an angle so that it doesn't reflect back from your actual shields on your cards. Number two, a decent enough USB camera, or you know, a camera if you have some. And then number three, an enough angle to mount your camera on top of your setup looking down, or at the side, maybe from the right hand side or left hand side. That's basically it. You can actually do without spending too much. There are other budget methods right here that I found on the internet, like this one, which has cardboard as a setup for their thing. You can also use your cell phone as a USB. Check out my video right here. All right, and that's it. So if you enjoy this content, if you want to join Setup Wars, you can actually put your entries in the Discord link down below. I will be probably choosing a couple of them from time to time. Links in the bottom here. And this time, this was a budget rig focused on helping out the players which have budget setup. But maybe in the future, I will be asking people for their pimped out rigs. Maybe there are sneak peeks right here and right here for these guys who actually submitted their setup, which is not going to be in a budget range, but definitely is something to behold. All right, that's it for me, guys. This is me, TDE, your favorite uncle. And as always, stay safe, y'all.